Hey guys, if you hear whirring in the background, that's a fan. We're back in our old filming spot on my bed. But just a quick reading update on Salem's Lot. It is 12:26 a.m. So about almost half an hour past midnight, and for the last, I'll say like hour or two, I've been reading Salem's Lot by Stephen King, and I love it. I'm on page 82 of 381. So I have about 280 pages, something like that, of this book, and I'm loving it. It's very, very creepy, which I'm enjoying. This might move up to my favorite Stephen King book. My favorite Stephen King book at the moment is It, which I did finish. I need to get the review up, but I need to just write down thoughts and stuff before I actually make the video. But my goal is page 100, and there's this building romance. It's not a romance novel. The romance is just like a side thing. It just complements the story. So in between all these dark, gritty, spooky scenes, there's character building, which is surprising how little detail Stephen King puts into the character building in this book, especially after reading stuff like It, where he can spend pages after pages just talking about how a character looks, how a character acts, how a character feels. There was parts in It where instead of summing it all up in like 1 or 2 pages, a death would be spread out. He would add as much detail as possible, but in this book, it's not really doing that. We didn't really hear about how Ben Mears, which is our main character, looked until a little later on into the story, which is very weird because normally one of the first things that an author will write about in a book is how a character looks, how a character acts, before really getting into the meat of the story. However, we're already in the meat of the story, and we've barely had any character development. We know that he is a serious-minded person. He's very kind. He is an author. He writes, I think like horror novels or something, and he has a little bit of a lingering depression. And he also has trouble letting go of his wife who passed. And also there's like so many other characters in this book. I feel like it's It all over again. Within the first like 200 pages, I feel like of It, we met like 10 characters or more. In this book, I want to say that there's at least 11 characters that we've been introduced to, and I'm only 82 pages in, and I still have all of that left to go. So, yeah. The spooky scenes, I think, are done really, really well. There was just a scene that I just read that was very creepy, and let me see if I can find the exact thing. Okay, here we go. The rat jumped down and trotted off toward the elbow bend further up. Hank's hand was trembling now, and the flashlight beam slipped jerkily from place to place, now picking out a dusty barrel, now a decades-old bureau that had been loaded down here, now a stack of old newspapers, now... He jerked the flashlight beam back toward the newspapers and sucked in breath as the light fell on something to the left side of them. A shirt. Was that a shirt? Bundled up like an old rag, something behind it that might have been blue jeans, and something that looked like something snapped behind him. He panicked, threw the keys wildly on the table, and turned away, shambling into a run. As he passed the box, he saw what had made the noise. One of the aluminum bands had let go and now pointed jaggedly toward the low roof like a finger. And then after that, there's a little section where he's talking to his boss about how he doesn't about what he saw. And then after that, section 7 of this chapter says Hank Peters woke up in the early hours of the next morning from a dream of huge rats crawling out of an open grave, a grave which held the green and rotting body of Hubie Marston, with a frayed length of manila hemp around his neck. Peters lay propped on his elbow, breathing heavily, naked torso slicked with sweat, and when his wife touched his arm, he screamed aloud. So it just shows how creepy this house is. And Ben Mears and a couple of other characters, they're always looking up at the Marston house. So it has some kind of pull on them, almost like a magnet, which is very, very interesting. And our main character actually has a connection to the house from something that actually traumatized him as a kid. When he was a kid, he wanted to be in this group called the Bloody Pirates, and that's basically just like one of those groups that like fourth graders or something like that, like little kids will put together and stuff. And he had to go through initiation, which they just made up on the spot. They were like, oh yeah, you want to join? Well, go into the Marston house, grab something, bring it out so that we know that you actually went in and explored. And he grabbed a snow globe and was like, okay, well, let me go up to the place where the person who built this house killed himself. And let me grab something from there. So he opened the door and the dude was hanging upside down and basically like opened his eyes and was like, oh, hi there, kid. He didn't actually say that, but like, yeah. Kid fell down the stairs, ran outside, right? So now he's like traumatized by that. And on top of that, he has the trauma of his wife dying, which is also very unfortunate. But he meets this girl named Susie within the first like 20 pages or something like that, and they spark up a friendship, and it is slowly getting into relationship territory. They've already kissed. He's been invited to dinner with her family, and she wanted to say I love you to him, but he was looking up at the Marston house. So overall, I'm enjoying this book. I think this is going to be my favorite one. And I'm reading this in order, which means that I have to read The Dead Zone soon, which I'm not really looking forward to. That was in a video, I think, yesterday, the books that I'm looking forward to least, that I'm going to have to get to soon. So I'm just trying to gobble up as many good Stephen King stories as I can until I get to the ones that I'm not looking forward to. So that's my reading update for Salem's Lot. I'm going to go try to finish this before I go to sleep. Or not finish the book, but finish the 100 pages before I go to sleep. I have to catch up on yesterday's reading as well because I did not read yesterday. I only read like 2 to 3 pages. And I'm really tired, but I want to read more of this. I'm super duper hooked right now. So yeah, I'll talk to you guys tomorrow or sometime the next time that I do my reading update. So that was my update on Salem's Lot. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a good night. Bye.